start then?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's start it like we were says for watching. I'm not sure who it is, but let's just hit. All right, here we go. It is episode 1, part 2 of the Aloha State of Mind podcast. My name is Mark Easy.
Yo, what's up, Mark? Oh, my name is Free.
Free ISABELO to the right of me, broadcasting live from beautiful Laughlin, Nevada. In case you guys don't know where Laughlin is, it's right on the Arizona-Nevada border. Actually, on the Colorado River, it separates Bullhead, Arizona, and Laughlin, Nevada.
Yeah, honestly, being on the river is amazing. Because, being from Hawaii, we're close to the ocean all the time, so that water feel. And anytime you get close to water, it's just awesome. But yeah, this water is like 30 degrees though.
Yeah, and you might be wondering why we're out here actually doing a DJ gig out here at the Edgewater Hotel and Casino at the Angelao on Friday, which was last night.
Yep.
And now we're broadcasting live Saturday. We got a gig tonight and tomorrow night. So it's a monthly gig we do out here. So we figure, why not broadcast from Laughlin?
Why not?
And we gave a little sneak preview if you logged into our, was it Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we streamed live on our Facebook. You can see the Colorado River. It's just kind of walking around and just kind of
doing our 75 hard challenge.
Yeah, we'll get into that 75 hard challenge a little bit later on. We explain to everybody what it is. Basically, it's just trying to get your mind right and your body right. As you get a little bit older, those things kind of matter more. While you guys still, you're youngsters out there.
Yeah, youngsters.
You don't care. You just drink, party. You're supermen and superwomen, invincible, bulletproof.
Yeah, watch when you hit 40.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
But anyways, let's kick off the podcast. The first podcast was just kind of getting to know me and how I grew up in Hawaii. My bringing up as a Ute, as my cousin Vinny would say.
What's a Ute? I'm sorry, 2 youths.
But anyway, so yeah, we kind of went through that and just my progression to where I am at today. I figured for the second part of the first episode, we'd get into the mind of a madman.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not as mad as I used to be.
Yeah. But yeah, back in the heyday you were. So we're gonna go from the very beginnings, where you grew up, all the way to where you're at now. So. Let's kick off and get to know Mr. Free ISABELO. So I'll kick it to you and ask you the first question. Where did you grow up? Like, what area of Hawaii did you grow up in? And what was your childhood like?
Well, before I start, I wanted to say that our interview where you were doing your story, it was kind of inspiring, like your journey. And it's so interesting. So if you have a chance to go ahead and take a look at that video, our first podcast. But now it's on to me. So,
right.
My name is Free ISABELO, and I'm currently living in Las Vegas, Nevada. And first, we started off. I lived in Oahu, in Hawaii. My whole family lived in Haleiwa, so I was kind of like a North Shore kid. But I was more of a townie because we lived in town and we had a property in Haleiwa. So every weekend I would go down there and go BMX biking with my cousins and all that. Now, because I was a townie, it was kind of horrible because only on the weekends is when I would be able to get in the dirt and all that. But my cousins literally lived on the beach and lived in the cane fields and all that stuff. So they were like so much faster than me, on the bikes and, fishing. They're so much better at fishing and hunting and all that. And I'm over there like, yeah, I'm just going to play with my G.I. Joes and stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah, so at first I was a young black woman living in Oahu, in the Waikiki area, in the Makiki Mo'ili'ili area, if you know where that is.
Oh, so you grew up in Makiki Mo'ili'ili area.
Yeah, like it's right outside. If you don't know where that is, it's right outside of the Waikiki area. And honestly, like it was actually pretty fun living there. I didn't have a lot of friends in the area because I went to Marino. And it's
you went to Marino?
I went to Marino.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, from pre-kindergarten all the way to about 5th grade.
Wow. You didn't strike me as the private school type.
Why? Because I'm stupid.
I didn't say that.
Well, I did.
But anyways, Marino. Wow, isn't that like a What kind of religion? And I know
That's
it's kind
that's
of
Roman Catholic.
Roman
It's a
Catholic
Catholic
school.
school.
And you had the dress code and like
Yep.
you had to wear like Z Cavarici pants or whatever. I don't know.
No,
Maybe like slacks or
yeah,
something.
you had to wear your slacks,
Uh huh.
but you got to wear there was like white polo shirts, which
Right.
is so stupid to give kids white polo shirts because all my entire career there, I had these sweat stripes down my sleeves because you just wipe your, and so I don't know why. I mean, they could have had maroon because that was the colors.
Yeah,
you know.
I thought I remember maroon being a part of that.
Yeah, it's maroon, gold, and white.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
for some odd reason, the boys had to wear white, the girls had to wear white, but like with the maroon skirt. I don't know why they said white. It's like, yeah, let's just get them dirty. So
Wasn't Marino like part of like a? They didn't have like their own football team, but it was like a Pac Five or
Pac
something.
Five, the
Like,
Wolf Pack.
was it like what schools were that mean? I forget.
There was Marino,
Right.
Hawaii Baptist Academy,
Mm-hmm.
Lutheran, Academy of the Pacific, and I don't know
One other one.
another one. But yeah,
That's
so
when you know you go to a small school where you got to combine like 5 schools to get a football team.
that's when you know you got a small school.
But how was that growing up in private school? I personally I went to public school, so I would always be curious as like how it was growing up going to a private school.
You know,
Was it like a little bit more niche because like you knew everybody because it was smaller, or is it actually harder because maybe it was more academic? I'm not sure.
Well, it was actually harder, like socially, because when you go to a private school, you have people from all over the island. When you go to a public school, everybody lives in Kamiki, everybody lives in Pro City, everybody lives in Waianae. So, but with a private school, you get students from all over the island. So you can't hang out after school because your friend has to go to Pacific Palisades, or your other friend has to go to Hawaii Kai. And so I basically just lived by myself, like, just play G.I. Joes by myself, wrestling figures by myself. But yeah, so I went to Marino, and you know, because I'm dyslexic, I went to a special school called Assets. Remember Assets?
No, I have no clue what that
Okay,
is.
Assets is like a
Assets.
special school that was on the military base. I guess Nimitz Landing Sea or whatever. And so I went to that school from sixth grade to eighth grade, and then no, I'm sorry, sixth grade to ninth grade, and then from there, I got into a lot of trouble because again, I didn't learn the way other kids learn, so I just started messing around. Um, I would finish off my assignments pretty quickly, and because of that, I would just get into trouble because I was so bored. Like I did all my homework and I did all my classwork, so I'm over there just messing around, talking to girls, and getting in trouble. And so I went over to Academy of the Pacific, which is another Pac-5 school,
Right.
and I did from ninth grade to, well, I think 2 years, so sophomore year, and then my junior and senior year, I went to Roosevelt High School, which is a public school in Hawaii, and even that, I'm hearing some static, but
Yeah.
even that, that's the same school as everybody's second cousin Bruno Mars.
Right.
So Bruno Mars, I went to. See, I didn't go to school with Bruno Mars. He's actually like 6 or 7 years younger than I am. So, but I can say, yeah, we went to the same school. Just like everybody at Puno can claim Obama,
Right.
right? Like no matter how old they are, or younger they are. Yeah, he went to Puno just like me. Yeah, but you're like 40 years younger. Anyway, but yeah, so that's what I did. Sorry, I'm like touching my face because I don't know why.
So like how was your transition from like Marino and all those private schools into public schools? Did you feel like you right in there? Like, you know what I mean? Like us as I can only speak for myself. Growing up as a public school person, you just kind of jaded to those private school kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like all those St. Louis cats and Sacred Hearts for me because I lived in that Kamiki
that
area.
area.
So you always kind of be like, oh, these guys think they're better than me or what? Because they go private school.
They go
Their
private school.
their mom and dad get money. Well, I broke. So you just get kind of that attitude. So when the people kind of hear, oh, this guy came from Marino, so I'll give him heat, yeah.
Well, like doses. Well, it's funny though. I actually had a friend that went from Academy of the Pacific, and he went to Roosevelt. I was supposed to get a Kaimuki, but I had a district exception because I already had a friend there that was already established as, a student there, and he knew a lot of people. So I went to that school, and because of him knowing a lot of people and being pretty popular, like everybody knew him, I got accepted pretty well.
Oh, you
Yeah,
rode your friend's
I
coattails.
did. I did.
You
His
are.
name was Jason Tavares. He's actually a really good rapper
Oh.
out in from the High State crew
Mm-hmm.
in Hawaii, and it because of him I got accepted. But also, I mean, I was quiet. I just sat down and I drew, like my tattoos, like artwork and all that kind of stuff. And so, the funny thing is that come new like like when the yearbooks come out,
Right.
people I don't even know would give me their yearbook so I could draw in it.
Okay,
Like
gotcha.
like all the popular girls that never talked to me throughout the
Right.
year. All of a sudden, oh my God, can you like draw me something? I'm like, all right. I would have a stack of like 15 books at one time.
Can you write my name in those graffiti block letters so it looks really cool for my friends?
Right? Or
Kinda
can you
deal.
draw me a rose with the ribbon in it and put my name in it? I'm like, yeah, whatever. You're pretty. I'll do it. He's like, to this day, they don't know my name.
Yeah, that was like almost a passage of writing, or writing a passage, I should say.
Right.
With the yearbook, because you always kind of like when you always gave somebody your yearbook and they look and say, "Hey, nobody signed your yearbook. You're not popular. I'm not gonna sign your yearbook. Nobody signed them
He's
yet."
like, how come the only people sign is teachers?
He'd be like, "I'm not signing that. That's just like a death wish in high school. It's like you
Really?
sign somebody's yearbook and like no one else signed it. Like, I ain't gonna do that, brother."
The thing is though, like a lot of the yearbooks that would come out, they would actually the people on the top, like like the owners of the books, would be like this page reserved for free Isabello,
Right, right. Oh
right?
yeah.
Because they know I'm just gonna draw on it.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Right.
about those things. They would put like this, like reserve the space for their besties or whatever we
Right.
used to call it back in the
The
day.
squiggly line heart,
Yeah.
squiggly
Hey, no,
line
right over
heart.
there, because that's for my friend. You can write over here, right over there. You can write like on the side, but the front page, this space is for my besties.
Right, and then you gotta actually tell people, don't scribble your face out, because that's
Yeah.
what they used to do, right? It's like you ding-a-ling, like it's not your book. Like my mom had to pay $30 for this book, but so yeah, so I wasn't popular, but I was kind of on the neutral end. Like I could hang out with the football players,
Right.
I could hang out with the Stonies, I could hang out with the kind of the rough and tough guys, because I was just chill,
Right. Wasn't I'm thinking Roosevelt. Wasn't that near the Papakolea, and that was like the kind of
That's the
Setso gang kind of
Yeah, that's the-
affiliation, Papakolea
that's
boys.
the
or
ghetto
something?
on the mountain, bro.
Yeah, Papakolea was the
It was pretty rugged.
yeah.
But the thing is, like it was, but again, it's just like any other, like say Waianae or Kahuku, whatever. There's rugged places and there's people that are like that. But if you get to know them, they're not too bad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
everyone like if you get to know them on a personal level, but a
Yeah.
lot of people were just like it was that gang mentality back in the day. Like,
Right, like-
oh well, we're from here, so we gotta be badass, and we can't be looking soft and all this kind of stuff. So everyone had their little sections from like Pololo to KPT
Mhm.
to Mayor Rights Housing, Papakolea. To Kalihi, even Eva Beach, Waianae.
What was Kaimuki's area?
Kamiki was mainly Pololo. The
Palolo,
Bloods, yeah,
yes,
and
like
Palolo.
10th Street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like- so that was that. But I mean, yeah. So it seems like you adapted well in high school, and you kind of just not flew under the radar, but you kind of just weaved your way between like all
Like,
levels of kids. I don't know
Yeah.
how to explain what word
so
I'm looking for.
it's kind of like Mean Girls where they have all their little cliques.
Right.
I was kind of like that ghost that could go in between.
Right.
Like if I like a girl, like a popular girl,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to talk to her, I could actually go over there and sit down and be comfortable with them.
Right.
But at the same time, I can go hang out with the Vietnamese. I can go hang out with, the rappers.
Right. And you're like a chameleon. You could
Yeah.
just.
Well, especially
blend
because
in.
back then, like I used to draw and all that. So of course everybody wants me to draw something, but I used to know how to dance because
Okay.
I'm Filipino, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do.
What kind of dancing would you do back in the day?
I was doing like Belle Bid DeVoe type of stuff.
Okay, and more of that. I don't know if you call
Like
it
New Jack
freestyle,
swing.
New Jack,
Yeah.
right?
There's
Okay.
that, and then of course being a b-boy and all that stuff. So, like at one time I was all four elements of hip hop. I was a b boy, an MC. Um, what was it? What was the other one?
B-boy, MC, graffiti artist,
Graffiti artist
and I don't know what the last one.
and DJ.
Oh, DJ, yeah.
Yeah, so I was all four at one time, and so again, you can just that makes you cool, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
because you can hang out with everybody and you can be on that level with everybody. So, my high school days, I mean, I gotta be honest, man. Like the coaches that used to do PE,
Mm-hmm.
they'd be like, "Hey, Isabella, come over here. Welcome me to try out for football." Because I'm catching passes with one hand,
Right.
all kind of stuff. I was like, "I gotta be honest, coach. I like to smoke too much weed." And he's like, don't tell me that. I cannot hear that.
Ah.
I was like, well, I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm not a good student because it's hard for me to learn traditional ways because of my dyslexia.
Right.
Um,
And did you know you had that? Was it like a diagnosed thing back in
Yeah.
the day? I know now it's like fully recognized, but back in the day it was just like you just kind of labeled as dumb.
right? Well, because I was having a hard time in school, my mom is a big person on education.
Right.
So she wanted the best education for me. That's why I went to Marino and AOP and all these things. But she got me tested because she's like, I don't know why you're not learning. Like, you're smart enough. I don't get it. And so they tested me on my J's and G's and my B's and D's, like all of that stuff. I was reading these things backwards,
Ah.
and I was like, they're like, okay, no, you start from here and you go here. But in my mind, I'm like reading from, instead of left to right, I was reading right to left.
Ah. Gotcha.
And all of these different things. So, and even like math, like a 5 and I don't know, 6 or whatever, I couldn't really visualize it. And so, I mean, once I got it, it was good, but I'd have to learn it. But nobody knew how to teach it back then.
Right.
Like now they have, special training for that. And so that's why that place Assets,
Right.
that was actually a school dedicated for alternate learning.
Ah, where was that located? I'm not really familiar with it. That's why I was like, I've been around the block, a few times.
Okay, you remember
growing
that-
up, but I don't remember Assets.
Yeah, you remember that bus that goes to Nimitz Gate Landing C?
I remember the bus, but I don't know where Nimitz Gate is. Was it by like all the way near?
I guess it's not Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
No, it'll be Pearl Harbor Nimitz Gate.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's over there.
Oh, all the way out there.
Like you have to go on base.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah, so it was a military program.
Ah.
And so again, man, my mom. If it wasn't for my mom, I'd be like straight stupid.
Shout out to you, mom.
Shout out to my moms, because she was so dedicated on the best for me.
Right.
So yeah, she had to go through a lot, man.
Yeah, I can imagine you were a handful growing up, and
I was naughty.
so you kind of just got that taken care of during high school, and then was there anything you did like other than just kind of just chill out, or did you get involved in any kind of, you said not athletics, but any kind of extracurricular activity in high school?
No, and again, the reason why is because I was lazy. I was a rebel. Like I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to stay after school to practice football. Like I went to a trial. Like in fact, I remember Coach Sasaki. He was like, "Hey, Isabella, come over here." During PE, he's like,
Yeah.
You're not fast, but you know how to. Your hands are good. You can kick the ball. Like I was kicking field goals, like just like barefooted,
Right.
like 30 yards, right? Like right down the middle. He's like, "Hey, we can use you on the team." I was like, "Coach, I'm not gonna come out. I got a girlfriend in another school. Like right after this, I jump on the bus and I go to, to the park and meet her, right?" And he goes, "You know what? How about this? You get detention tomorrow." I was like, "What? Like for what?" He's like, "Because you're giving me sass." I was like, "Oh." You go, "Okay, so detention tomorrow is after school on the football field." So I actually had to go to a practice. And I did pretty well, but again, I was like, "Coach, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm not coming back. You can give me detention every day until game day. I don't want to play."
Right. So you had no interest in the sport. So what was your interest during that time?
Well, the thing is, I was interested in sport. I love like Florida State football.
Just not playing it.
Yeah, I was just too lazy. I wanted to be with my girlfriend, and at the time, I was 16, so all those hormones are going. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Typical teen.
typical teen, just
So
thinking with your
wrong head.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you with your ding-a-ling, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But, and so, I was just like, I don't want to do it. He's like, I can't force you to, but man, you could go far, And he goes, hey, so what are you into? I was like, I like Florida State, since 5 years old, blah, 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 blah. He's like, see, what if I tell you that you can get, offered to Florida State? Would you go? I was like, nah, I got to go see my girlfriend. So who knows where my life would have been if I would have just listened to Coach Sasaki.
Right. You could have been
at
like,
Roosevelt.
yeah, you could have been the next Jason Elam.
Or I could have been the next Deion Sanders. You know what I mean? The best football player ever. Because he went to Florida State.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's high school in
That's
a
my high
nutshell.
school.
Just basically, you had your dyslexia, you got that taken care of, thankfully, and then you had really no interest. You're just like typical teen. I want to be with my girlfriend and just chill.
Yeah.
Slacker. Slash type. And then after high school, what did you start getting into and start moving into your life as far as progressing in your career or?
Well, right after high school, like actually during high school when I went to Academy of the Pacific, I met one of my best friends of all time. Still to this day, we're connected. His name is Tim Hartman.
Okay.
And he got me into doing odd jobs and everything, and because we used to hang out together. And he had a job at the Shack in Hawaii Kai.
Okay.
Okay. And so if you don't know what the Shack is, it's a burger joint, it's a bar, but it's a really fun place to work, and a lot of pretty girls working there too. Anyway, and so I was working with him for a long time, for about a year. I did some odd jobs like the Shack. I did Liberty House in Kahala Mall,
Okay.
right? The men's store, the one that disconnected from the other store. I worked at like 2 different Burger Kings.
Oh, you did fast food?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, man. That's one thing I never. Like, I did a lot of jobs from like paperboy to delivering auto
that too?
parts and working at the airport, but I never did fast food for some reason.
You know what? You missed out because whenever I was hungry and broke, because when you work at a fast food joint, you're only getting paid scale, right? So,
Right.
but you're broke. But if you if you have a cool manager and they know you, you can literally tell them, can I do some waste? Like they call it waste, where if you can't let the burger sit for more than 12 minutes, before
Okay.
you just gotta waste it.
Right.
So they're like, yeah, go ahead. What are you gonna take? And then I'll tell them what I'm gonna take, and they say, okay, I'll write it down as waste. So I didn't have to pay for my food.
Dang.
Ever. I would literally take home because they had the pies in the little I guess pie holders. Dude, I used to take cases of that stuff home. Cases, not just 1 or 2 pies.
That's what you call working the system.
Right, we're talking like
Burger King. So what kind of pies? I know like McDonald's is apple pie. So what kind of? I don't remember eating like baked pies from Burger King.
no. Well, it wasn't baked. It was like more of like a cheesecake thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like the actual
Yeah,
wedges,
gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
So I used to take home like cases of that. I used to take home like triple Whoppers, and oh my god, I was never hungry.
Dang. That's a good thing I didn't do fast food. I already had a weight problem and coming up as a kid. That would
I
have just
know.
put me over the edge.
But I got to work with again my friend Jason Tavares that brought me into Roosevelt. I got to work with my friend Kimo. I got to work at all these guys that I hung out with
Right.
because our manager was one of the guys we hung out with. So he hired all of us.
Oh, gotcha. So it's just like a fun thing, like all the boys working together.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why not? you
Yeah,
know?
not really like work. So you got all those, typical jobs after you get out of high school, and then what
Right.
did you start? You talked briefly about the Shack in Hawaii Kai. Was that in Coco Marina or?
Yes, that was in the
Okay.
Coco Marina. I guess like their shopping center.
Right. So what did that start move you into?
That because of my connection with Tim Hartman, he was a writer and real geeky nerdy dude just like me. Like comic books and all that. He never drew anything. He was more of a writer, and so he's like, "Hey, I got this guy that I go to school with." Because we went to Academy of the Pacific together, but when I went to Roosevelt, he went to was it Castle? No, not Castle. What's the one all the way out in Hawaii Kai?
Oh, Kaiser.
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 Right? He went to Kaiser. Oh, go Cougars, I guess. And so he was like, dude, I got this guy named Aaron Masisco. He's a freaking amazing artist. You got to meet him. You have to meet him. You got to meet him. I was like, okay. It's like, where do you want to meet? So we went to Zippy's. And if you don't know what Zippy's is, you just Google it. Because it's like the one place in Hawaii that you can always go to. It's 24/7s.
Yeah, it's just a good comfort food type for Hawaii.
For Hawaii. The chili's good.
Yeah.
And so we met, And because we were all broke, we sat there for like 6 hours. I'm not kidding. 6 hours just sitting there, drinking one cup of coffee after another, because refills, right?
Right.
Man, we left that lady like a $10 tip, even though we were there for 6 hours.
Yeah, Zippy's always seems to be the talk story kind of
Yeah, I did.
place
I
to
think,
go if you want to just eat and just like sit there and camp there for hours on end,
Right.
just vala out, just talking. You just want to. Zippy seems to always have been the spot.
right? Like I feel bad now because it was only a $10 tip, but I mean it was in the middle of the day. There was nobody else there. You know what I mean? So that's where I met my artist mentor. His name is Aaron Masisco. He actually moved to Japan and became a rock star over there.
Yeah, what was the name of his band? I remember you talking about
It was start from scratch,
Right.
and then it was my newfound no not my my new life or something like that. I don't know.
Well, you can always just Google it and check it out.
Yeah,
That's
Google
another-
it.
Maybe
Aaron-
we'll see if we can get him on the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great because he's still living in Japan. He's got a wife and kids. Oh, his 2 kids. His daughter is freaking adorable. Okay, his daughter's adorable. His son is just like him. He can draw. He can play guitar. He can do all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Like it's just genetically, he's just so talented.
Yeah, we got to get him on the podcast.
oh,
Big in Japan, man.
Big in
We need
Japan.
we need some people. Yeah,
I mean,
that's good.
isn't that a song? I'm
Yeah.
big in Japan.
Yeah,
I mean, they made a song about him.
Well, we'll definitely reach out to him and see if we can get him on the
Yeah.
podcast. But anyway, he became your artistic type mentor.
Yeah, because at the time I was just doing like graffiti style stuff,
Right.
But he's the one that actually is like, hey, dude, I draw comics, and maybe we want to draw comics. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out, So I did a little bit here and there,
Right.
but I didn't try to do it professionally.
Right.
He was actually professional level, but I don't know how he didn't become like a big star in Marvel or DC, because if you see this guy's stuff, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's just one of those overall probably talented people. You can draw, you can
Surf.
play guitar.
He can do like
He's the kind of guy looks good. The kind of guy I hated when I grew up. Why does he have all the talent? Like,
the
excuse
thing
me,
is-
I'm just having flashbacks
I
there.
know. See, the thing is though, he was such a nice guy. Like even though all the girls would just gravitate to him,
Mm-hmm.
like his attitude would be like, if you don't talk to my friend, why would I talk to you? You
Right.
know what I mean? And you don't have to like want to do him.
Yeah.
You just got to be nice. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he was that kind of guy, and he would tell them straight to their face, like, "Are you just gonna ignore my friend standing here? Well, I'm gonna ignore you."
Yeah, he was one
Yeah.
of those bros.
Yeah, he's a bro, but of course he gets the girls, right? So
But before we move on, I want
Yeah.
to kind of tap into this because I know a little bit of history, but I like them to know out there.
Mm-hmm.
You said you weren't really at first into being a professional artist because you were into a graffiti type artist.
Yeah.
And I know. Let's delve into a little bit. I know about the story, but I know I used to be one of those. I know back in the day because my brother was a big tagger back in the day. That was like a big thing, hitting up the bus stops with those big pens. What were they called? Those fat markers.
Magnums.
Magnums. That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, okay, so
Because that was like a whole like. I know if you check back on my podcast, I talked about the progression of kind of like Hawaii fads and nightlife from like the hotel dances to Waikiki, cruising around to the DJ and club scene.
Yeah.
But there was also like another facet to that was I didn't mention, but it was the whole graffiti scene because that thing was huge from people putting up big pieces
Yeah.
to people just tagging all the bus stops, the buses. It was
Yeah.
like a crazy phenomenon that I think we just fell into line of the hip hop era, back in those days.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of a. I'm not proud of this story, but I'm kind of proud of the story.
Right.
Back in the days, I mean, I used to literally just skip school. I would take the bus out to like Kahuku, okay, get off the bus, and just walk, and tag my name everywhere. I mean, we're talking. I used to go to take the bus from Roosevelt High School, take it to Ala Moana, tag all that up. From Ala Moana, I'll get on the next bus to Pro City, drop me off in Pro City, and I'd walk back, tagging everything from Pro City all the way to downtown Honolulu.
Right.
I mean, that's dedication. okay?
Yeah.
Now,
That's a dedication to your craft.
right? And so this is the story. on my 18th birthday. I've never been busted before. On my 18th birthday, my friends and I was the tag crew, Vandalist Minds, VM. So if you look that up, it's VM and High State. Um, we went out, and because it's my birthday, we tagged up like the I guess the holy grail of tagging in like Windward side would be Windward Mall.
Right.
So I did this huge tag up in Windward Mall at the very main entrance, and we were walking away. We were out of um, the parking lot area, and a cop comes by. Now that one day, because I had my 40, I wasn't thinking. I forgot my finger condom. Like the one that you put on your fingers, so that way when you spray paint, he was like, okay, everybody, let me see your hands. So we all did this, and I had my black spray paint finger. So that's how I got busted.
Not
And
caught red-handed, but black
fingered.
fingered.
But also,
Free got fingered, not Freddy.
but also, they had me on video.
Well, that's just the icing on the cake.
Right, that's just the okay, boy. So we went to the police station. They put us in the holding, and they sat me down. And I don't know if you know about this, but even in LA or New York or Hawaii, no matter where it is, every tag is taken a picture of and documented because they want to know if it's gang related.
Right.
Right. And they're like, so free VM, is that you? I was like, nah, man. Like, he's like, don't lie. I was like, no, it's not me. And of course, you're gonna say what you're gonna say, right? I was like, no, I see it everywhere, so I just figured I'd spray paint it just to have fun, and that's not me, right? They're like, okay. They brought out one book with all the tags in it, right? They brought out a whole separate book with just free VM on it, just my name, right? And they said that I had over like 20,000 hits around the island.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're like the number one.
I was it.
Most wanted in Hawaii for vandalism.
For vandalism.
Right.
Right.
Dang.
But they couldn't. Because of my lie of saying it wasn't me.
Right.
It was my birthday. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. They couldn't get me for all the other ones.
Right.
But I had to pay for the one at Windward Mall.
Oh, dang. I wonder how much that would be if you had to pay for every single
my
documented
God.
one they had.
Right.
How much did you have to pay for that one?
That one was $350 fine, and I had to pay another, I think, $200 to Windward Mall for the private property damage.
Right.
But yeah, my mom and dad weren't liking that. But yeah, like they literally brought out a separate book, and I was like, holy! And the mess up thing is, my friend Kimo and my friend Jason, because we're all in the same crew.
Right.
Like they were sitting kind of like off to the side, behind the cop that was talking to me, and I saw it in their face when they brought the book out. It's like, yeah, you got like over 20,000 hits. They looked at me like they were about to like give me the high five and the wave. They're like, dude, rock on, man. I was like, but again, don't do that, because that kind of dedication means that you have to skip school a lot and not get your education.
Imagine if you put your powers to good.
I know, right?
That could have been like so much more.
I could have went to Florida State University.
But could have been a contender.
I could have been a contender. I could have been. I must break you.
Yeah, but that was like a huge thing. That's why I wanted to just bring up the topic. I'm not sure if anyone out there
it was
back in the day used to be a tagger or something. It was a huge scene, and my brother used to do it a lot. But I was just, I was too scared to do it. So I was one of those. I was the sticker guy. You know who the sticker guys are?
Yeah, sticker.
You tag on a sticker and then you just put the sticker on.
Right, the my name is sticker.
Yeah.
Right.
And chicken boys. That was me.
Like I used to chicken. Like I used to do like stop signs.
Right.
Like can't and then free on the bottom. So like can't on the top, free on the so I can't stop free.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then also with the stickers, we used to get the post office stickers.
Right.
Which once you stick it on something, it doesn't come off.
Right.
Right. Because that's what they're made for. That kind of glue. So yeah, man, we used to stick that everywhere, dude. Oh, again, don't do it.
Yeah, we wouldn't suggest you do it, but it was part of the culture back in the day. Like I said,
culture.
Between hip hop,
Yeah.
I think we just here in Hawaii, we just kind of gravitated toward that hip hop culture between music, graffiti, dancing. We were just like a sponge, back in the day.
Well, because I think
Just a bunch of culture,
like after so long, there's only so many Bob Marley songs there are out there. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so I listened to, the Wailers 1,000 times. What else is out there? And then, Belle Biv DeVoe came out, and everybody was wearing the pants, and Oak Tree and Coda and Kramer's, like, you know what I mean? Like, and Cavaricci's came in, and boom, like we all needed it, we all wanted it, we all had the stripes in our hair, and girls liked it, so that's what we did it for. So anyway, um, but yeah, and then so that's how I got into like drawing, but I didn't do it as something like, oh, I can make a career out of this.
Right.
It was just more of like, let's have some fun and see what happens. And then I go to my Burger King job. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And before getting into the nightclub life, I started my nightclub life very different from most people. And the reason why I say that is because my career in nightclubs actually started as a bathroom attendant.
Really?
Yeah, at Maharaja. It's a king of clubs in Waikiki. It was the best club in Waikiki and in basically all of Oahu. But I started off as a bathroom attendant. And the reason why is because I love hockey. I used to play hockey. I was a goalie. And my favorite hockey team is Chicago Blackhawks. And back then, they weren't great. They weren't good, right? But the bathroom attendant that owned the company, he was a hockey guy. Old dude, right? And he was like, yeah, I don't want to work here every day, but I have to because I have nobody under me. Did you want to work? And I was like, oh, man, how much do I get paid? He's like, well, you only get paid by the tips you get. And at the time, I'm like, dude, how am I going to get paid by tips only? So I did one shift. And within that one shift, I made $500.
Dang.
And the reason why is because back then, back in like the mid 90s, early 90s, like 93, 95, around there was so many pimps and drug dealers in Waikiki that's where they would go to hang out, while their girls did their thing.
Right.
And of course they had money, so I would have like all the top line of like Polo, Ralph Lauren, like all those fragrances, what do they call, colognes?
Yeah.
And so they'd come in, they'll spritz themselves, they'll get a piece of gum, I'd hand them a towel, they'll do this, and then they'll drop like $20, $30 bills.
Those are rare.
Right? That's a $30 bill right there. They'll drop like 20. One guy came in and just like, yo, man, I'm drunk. I was like, yo, man, you know what? I got to be honest with you. You're kind of dragging breath right now. Here, let me hook you up, right? So mouthwash and give him gum. You dropped like $300 just for that, right? I was all right, man. You good? He's like, all right, man. Thank you. And so I made $500 on my first night, and that's when I just, started doing that.
Right. That must have been
right
after working at Burger King and getting a paycheck of $500 in 2 weeks. Then he's like, wait a minute,
dude. Back then it was $500. You're crazy. It was only like $250 in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Man. But I got to eat as many chicken sandwiches as I wanted.
But I ate 215 chicken sandwiches, dog.
You know what I'm saying? And their ice cream. Bam. So,
take that, the man.
Take that, king. So, yeah. And while I was doing that, I talked to everybody. And my soon-to-be mentor, I didn't know this at the time, Richie Aki, he was the head of, like, music and entertainment at Maharaja. And he came in and we used to talk all the time, and he liked my attitude and my, how I talk to people. Right. He's like, you ever thought about being a DJ, like an MC? And I'm like, nope. He's like, well, why don't you come in tomorrow and like, we'll talk. So I came in, when the club was closed, and he's like, here's the microphone. Let me hear what you say. I gotta be honest, man, I was horrible. Right? I was like, hey everybody, how you doing?
Yeah, right.
He's like, pretend that there's people here. Like, would you really want to sound like that? So, and then he taught me how to DJ, and he taught me how to, like, be very vocal on the mic and own the crowd. Right. Because when you go to nightclubs, they want to be told to raise their hands. They want to be told, make some noise, and, who do you love kind of thing. And so, I started doing that, and then we did a contest. It was one of those booty shaking contests. And my friend Aaron, the one that lives in Japan, him and I went up there, and we were doing some sexually looking things.
Right? Some Magic Mike type things.
Yeah, some Magic Mike. And of course the girls are cheering for him, right? and I didn't want, because I'm the chubby one, right? So I was like, okay, I gotta do something. Screw Aaron, right? Because I don't want him to win the $100.
Right.
So I got on the mic and I did my first, and all the girls went freaking nuts. So I won $100. So that's right, Aaron. You might have the nice body and the pretty face, but I got the tongue. So that's when Richie was like, okay, you know what? Let's hire you. Let's get you trained so you can do the contest. You can host the shows. You can do this. You can do that.
Right. So he basically took you under his wing.
Yeah, and basically him and Richard Wong taught me how to be an entertainer. He said, don't be a DJ, because there's DJs dime a dozen. What you want to be is an entertainer. You don't just DJ, you don't just MC, you do both, and you make sure that you control your crowd. Get them off the dance floor when they want to drink, get them back on after they're drunk, like that kind of thing. But with me, I was fortunate enough to have one of the best lineage in the DJ nightclub scene, because my lineage goes back to Ahi Ting, and then it went to James Cole, then it went to Lisa D, and then it went to Richard Wong and Richie Aki.
Right.
And so I was like a part of that lineage, and at the time I didn't know how prestigious that was.
Right, it is. Like, that's like the beginning of just DJing in Hawaii, basically.
Like, I remember James Cole doing like 3 turntables at the same time.
Right.
And nobody did that back then. And with Lisa D, she used to scratch and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, but when Richie taught me, it was more of a nightclub vibe. He's like, dude, honestly, tricks are for, because when you first start DJing, you want to waka, waka, right? Like, you want to waka waka on the ones and twos.
Right, you just want to do all the tricks and look all fancy and stuff.
But Richie's the one that taught me, in a nightclub scene, people want to dance. They don't want to, like, if you want to do that, then be Qbert, then you're going to do just that 15-minute show.
Right.
But what I need you to do is control the club for 6.5 hours. So he taught me how to program and actually, like, learn how to mix, like, certain songs with certain genres to make a flow out of it. So, and he's like, yeah, you want to learn that other stuff? Learn it later. So I started off that way. I was a DJ in the bathroom, I was making more money in 2 days. I was still doing the bathroom thing, by the way.
Right.
Because...
Why would you give that up?
Right? But at the same time, people would come in on, my days off of DJing.
Right.
And see me in the bathroom. They're like,
wait a minute.
Dude, like, really?
Why are you here? Why is the janitor the DJ?
Right? And so Richie's like, dude, you gotta choose, either be in the DJ booth or be in the bathroom stall. So, I mean...
But the bathroom might make more money.
Right? But, okay, and then there was a big crackdown in Waikiki. So the money started to dry up. So I was like, okay, I guess DJing it is.
I guess that made the choice easy.
Right? And so, he was like, if you want to do it. And of course, I was young and excited, so I jumped on the opportunity. And I was a part of that elite DJ crew that was working there at the time. Like, for example, we had Bert Kawasaki, which now owns Artistry.
Is that Sandman?
Yes. The DJ Sandman.
Sandman, right?
And so there was him, and he was doing, like, mixes for I-94. No, I think it was 93.1.
Okay.
Yeah, he was doing mixes for 93.1. And then we had K-Smooth, which is doing mixes for I-94. He later on became, I guess, like a music director.
Yeah.
Right?
He's OG. K-Smooth.
And now he's like an international DJ.
He's big in Japan, too.
Huge, big in Japan. Right? And he's sponsored by 88Ts. And I don't know if you know 88Ts, but that's like an international, like, huge company with T-shirts and everything. Mm-hmm. And then we had Richard Key that became music director at I-94 too. We had Mr. Good Vibe, I guess he was promotions director for 104.3 at one time.
Yeah, he did a lot of things, mix shows and promotions.
Yeah, mix shows.
Just a lot of residencies in the clubs.
Yeah, and so at the time I was on 93.1 at the time. Mm-hmm. I did my, even though it was like a Sunday morning, I'm putting in the cartridges for Rick D's Weekly Top 40, like that kind of thing.
The cartridges? What's cartridges?
Which is funny because it's like literally like an 8-track, right? But yeah, so I was putting those in, but at the same time, I got to crack the mic. Yeah. Which is unheard of for guys that like me.
But let's get back. And explain what a cart is to maybe some of our younger listeners out
Okay,
there.
so a cart in the radio industry is just short beds, or actually, it can be either really short, like 7 second beds, so that you can talk over it, or you can have like 7 minute or 30 minute long recordings. And this is, I mean, just when CDs were around, but the carts were where you put everything on.
Right.
Like either it can be promotion, it can be a commercial, it can be again like Rick D's weekly top 40, or you know, hey everybody, blah 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 blah.
So did you use the CD carts then? No, or was this before
Well,
that?
I had CD cards, but also there was like the actual, like, it looked like a 8-track cart.
And
I
the
mean,
DAT, the DATs.
the DATs,
Right.
DAT, if you don't know what that is. And so yeah, I mean, we used to use all of that, man.
Yeah.
And so
That's how, if you're a millennial out there or anybody, that's how we used to listen to music, is on.
On
It wasn't
CDs.
just all digital files that you can download that come out of the clear blue sky. You actually needed physical things like a possible like a CD or maybe back in the day a cassette tape. I don't know if you know what that is, but yeah. But it wasn't all digital back in the day.
VHS.
Times was rough back in our
Right.
day. We had it rough, okay, guys.
Like the actual physical CD. It looks like a little plate but silver. But yeah, so we're all on the radio at one point, and so our nickname was the Radioactives at Maharaja. So that was kind of cool. And then when that closed, I went to Juliana's, and that was a Korean nightclub that later turned into Venus nightclub.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
And so Good Vibe actually started working there first because his first wife, out of like his 17 wives. Nah, just kidding. But yeah, his first wife was Korean, so she linked him up with doing the gig there. And so when they got bought out by our new owner named Dusan, he turned it into a gay club called Venus Nightclub. Now that club was jumping. Like at one point, there's only Hula nightclub, or Hula's. Yeah, I guess it's a nightclub, right?
Yeah, Hula's bar. and
Hula's
grill or
bar.
something.
There was Hamburger Mary's, and
Hamburger Mary's.
right, and there was what was the one across the street from Zanzibar?
Oh, I don't know that kind of stuff. Fusions.
Oh, I thought you never know. So yeah,
That's
there's
just part of
Fusions.
my job.
There's Fusions nightclub. So that was like the only three, and then all of a sudden, Venus came in and basically just blew them out of the water. And the reason why is because we had drag shows, we had the Dingaling shows. Oh, I'm sorry, male reviews, right? And then we had 18 and over nights. We had all these, live band promotions during the days. Like, we'd have fundraisers for all the drag queens that do pageants and all that.
Right.
So we were known as the hot spot for like the inclusive culture.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I remember everybody's like, it's one of those things where it's always like the gay clubs, or I don't know if that's politically correct, but whatever. But anyways, is where all the girls go because they don't want to get bugged by guys.
Absolutely.
And then finally the guys go, we go.
Yeah, I don't care. It's like, and the thing
At
is,
first
like,
you're like, no, I'm going there. And then you go over there and you see all the girls and you're like, okay, let's go.
right, you see all the girls, but also you see your cousin, right? You're like, hey, nah, I'm not gonna tell you I'm out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's like, this is your life, bro. Do whatever you like,
Right.
right? And so, again, in Hawaii, the gay culture is so big, and everybody has gay people in their family. Like, come on, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's more inclusive. Everybody just went there to have a good time, and of course, the girls let their guard down so the guys can hit on them, and they think that, oh my God, he's gay and he's hitting on me, so I must be really pretty. It's like, no, you ugly, but tonight you good looking. Tonight we're good. Anyway, so yeah, it became the hot spot, and then I was working there for about 3 years, and Richie Aki calls me up because he used to come to Venus, like, because honestly we had the best music,
Right.
Good Vibe and I, we went down to the Beat Records, every week. Went down to Jellies, went down to all these places. What was that place in Puck's Alley? Second level? Yeah, it was something like Righteous Grooves or something like
Yeah,
that.
I forget that.
And we used to get like some of the best new Chicago house and all that stuff, like some freestyle stuff. And we played at Venus, and everybody loves it. So, and Richie's a big house fan, so he used to come just to listen to the music and hang out. He got to know the owner, and the owner offered him a partnership in the club,
Right.
right? But before that, um, Richie got offered to be the head of um, entertainment director for the biggest nightclub ever in Hawaii called Royal Cafe.
Hmm.
Yeah, that it was a three-story, huge nightclub. It had its own arcade. It had everything. It had a huge stage where you can put on.
Man, I can barely remember it now. I know you
Really?
that used to be your house, but like,
Oh man.
I've been there like many a time, but I just in my mind I can barely remember like that it was the level, and then there was the second level to hang over, and then there was a top level. It was
Yep. Yep.
like it was something you never saw before in Hawaii, and
Especially in
it's kind of
Hawaii.
crays when I think about it. But like it's just like a faded memory in my mind. I'm just trying to
Right.
picture the place in my head, and I'm like, man,
Oh man, I
that
used to
place
love that place. And so, okay, so he called me up and he's like, "I'm gonna be the new director, entertainment director. I want you to be my MC. I'm gonna bring in K Smooth from our old crew at Maharaja to be our resident DJ. Him and Bert Kawasaki and whoever's doing the radio stuff."
right,
So I was like, "Okay, cool." And so from Venus, I went to World Cafe. From World Cafe, it was like 2 years over there. Very stressful, but we had such a great party going. We had the
Right.
skits, the Playhouse players. We had Doc Rock, Stoney, myself, intern Cliff,
right.
right? Hey, hey. Man, that guy is
part.
crazy, but I love him. And so we had such a great time, but it was so stressful because the owner would be like, here's your pay tonight. And just before you take, he's like, who pays you? Like, you do, Uncle Les. Yeah, you better believe it. Like that kind of that kind of power trip, right? And it got to the point where like, okay, this sucks. And then Richie got offered again to be a partner at Venus.
Right.
And so when he left, they were like, oh man, he's gonna take all his crew with him free.
Right.
Because at the time, it was myself, Slick Vic. That's really the two major MCs in the nightclub scene.
Right.
There's everybody else, like there's Johnny and all that from not Mystique, like Blue Tropics and whatever. But in reality, the two major ones that were on the radio and all that was myself and Vic. And they're afraid that we're all gonna move with Richie, and so they started offering us like more money, and like I was like, dude, I can't stand Les.
Right.
Like I can't. Well, I hate to name names, but everybody knew Uncle Les, right? I can't stand the owner. I just want to get out of here. It's miserable. He's like, yeah, but what if you and Suka, which is his right hand man, he was really nice. I still talk to him, to this day, and he's got a great family. Anyway, he was like, dude, why don't you just work with just me directly? You don't ever have to talk to Les ever. I was like, but just knowing the fact that he's gonna be the one owning this, because this
Right.
is his place. He's not gonna give it up. He's that kind of guy. He's like, okay, well, I hope that you would stay, but I get it. You and Richie go back a long time, and so I followed Richie back to Venus, and we did a really long stint there. I did like 4 more years at Venus, before I broke off, and I was doing live band promotions at Velvet Lounge.
Oh, Velvet Lounge.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody remembers that one.
Like Comp USA, right?
Right next to Comp USA on Nimitz Highway,
Right.
like downtown area, Kakawako.
Kaka'ako, yeah.
Kakawako. So, I was doing live band promotions there, and then Kevin Nakasone from right. I'm bringing some old school names here, man.
Right.
Kevin Nakasone from Rumors Nightclub. Rumors Nightclub is like a legendary nightclub in Hawaii, based in Alamana Hotel. Man, how many years?
I don't
Like
know.
30 years?
I know it finally shut down last year, a year
Yeah,
or two ago.
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was around for like literally like 30 years, and that's ridiculous for a nightclub. And it's legendary because they had like the Big Chill, which is like 40s, 50s, 60s music, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 93.1 did our broadcast there, and I was the DJ for that after Sean, DJ Euphoric,
Before?
Yeah.
That's right.
right? And then so I was DJing there. Now the reason why I accepted the job there, I kind of wanted to get out of the club scene, but because it was Rumors, I took the job
Right.
because I was like, James Cole, Cool E, all these legendary guys worked at Rumors.
Right.
You know?
that's-
So again, it's a lineage
Right.
of where you work. It's kind of like doing the Super Bowl. You know, like you're in the same. If you do the Super Bowl halftime, you're in the same category as Michael Jackson, Prince. You know what I mean? Like those
Right,
guys.
it's just a legendary spot, and you
Yeah,
didn't work there, and just one of those things like, oh, it's a bucket list type thing. Like, I
exactly.
always wanted to work there, but I never got a chance. So you take a shot, you shoot your
Right.
shot.
You shoot your shot. Sometimes you hit a three. Sometimes you just you brick it.
Yeah, so
Put up a brick.
so you were there at Rumors nightclub. I know, like, I know they had the Big Chill was a very long shift, right?
Oh my god.
Because you'd go through all the decades of music, correct?
It started at 4 o'clock,
4 o'clock in the
and,
afternoon.
it's one of those from 4 to 5. It's
Uh-huh.
the 40s.
Uh-huh.
5 to 6 is the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So that whole day, until it got into like later on when Dogfather would come in, or
Right.
somebody else would come in and take over like the hippity hoppity stuff.
Right.
Um, it's so funny because you would have at one point at 9, 10 o'clock, you'd still have like the dancing grandma,
Oh yeah.
and you still have the 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rock
Right.
kind of dancers. And then you got the hip hop guys, like all like the military black dudes coming in.
Right. It'd be like a intermingling of the decades.
Yeah, so you'd see like dancing grandma, like doing the 1-2 step with, you know, like some guy that looks like he has like a mustard suit, like he looks like New Jack City. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so yeah, it was a pretty cool place, and I love the people who work there. Yeah, and my second, well, I can't say my second mom because she's actually my nightclub mom, Pauline Keb. She worked at Maharaja, so I knew her back then. And that's how I got into Maharaja was her son Cheyenne Rodriguez, and he's the one that actually brought us in. Like, hey, come check me out. I'm the door host, that kind of thing. And so I got to know her. I got to know her, and I got to know a lot of the guys that worked at Rumors worked at Maharaja.
Right.
So when Maharaja closed, they all kind of went to Rumors. And so I was kind of like being back with family. But I mean, I decided one day that I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm done this club stuff for now. Like I don't wanna be that 90-year-old DJ.
Right.
Trying to continue this lifestyle. Like I want to move on. So I quit, and shortly after I went to Jackie's Kitchen.
Okay.
Like, yeah, Jackie Chan had a restaurant in Hawaii called Jackie's Kitchen. And
That was in Alamoana, right?
Yeah.
Near the Mai Tai bar.
by the Mai Tai bar.
Correct.
By like Ruby Tuesdays and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friend, the Don K. Wan,
Shout out Kwan.
shout out to Kwan.
Kwan. Inside joke.
Yeah, you know. And so he got me the job there as one of it's called an expediter. You know what
I'm
that
not
is?
sure.
So when it comes off the line, after the cooks cook it,
Yeah.
they put it on the line. Then you got to look at the ticket, get all the food together, and then give it to the waiter.
So you
You're the in between guy.
yeah, you separate, so you don't get the tips like the waiters do. So
Yeah, but I get you're the one that has to pull the ticket,
right,
put the
and
ticket on this
match
one.
up the ticket with the food,
Exactly,
and make sure the waiter gets it.
and make sure that it's accurate so that the waiter gets tipped.
Yeah.
Now the waiters do
Break
tip
you
out.
off
Yeah,
sometimes.
they break me out something, but again, you don't get the $80 tips. You only get like the $2.
$5.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the waiters.
Yeah, exactly. So I was doing that
Mm-hmm.
for about 2 months, and they were looking for a waiter to do the day shift. So I was like, all right, I never waited in my life. But that's when Quan actually taught me how to wait, like
Right.
wait on tables.
Okay.
And like he's got a mind like a steel trap. You can give him 20 orders and he'll do it accurately
Right.
with all the changes and everything. So he taught me how to, wait on a table, make sure that you touch. It's called touching tables. So no matter what, even though people are eating, you just kind of touch the tables. Like, are you guys doing okay? All right,
Right.
like that kind of thing. You need more
Yeah,
water.
that's a skill. I think one of my wife's cousin. I know you met Junior before. He's a great waiter. You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
always
he's
just
really good.
Customer service type. I was never, like I said, never really got into fast food
think
or
it's
any
'cause
kind
you
of
hate-
service industry.
You hate people, that's why. I don't like watch you eat. I like
Not-
eat your food.
Not then, but now maybe I got that grumpy old man mentality. I think. Just want to be like live in Hobbit Lane.
Right. So I got the job at Jackie's Kitchen. Now this is a story that is still legendary on it's called the terrace, because that upper level where all like bubble gums and all that, it's called the terrace.
Terrace.
The whole Kipo Terrace. And one day this guy comes in, and it's during the day. Everybody was kind of like, oh man, I don't want to wait on him, like just because we're all lazy, right? And I was like, dude, I'll wait on him, you dingalings. And so I go up to him, I was like, hey, how's it going, man? What's your name? Blah 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 blah. And he's like, what would you recommend? It's like, dude, the raisin short ribs are really good, but if you're not into short ribs right now, we have something a little lighter, the pad thai, blah blah blah. So I got him his order, and I was just having a conversation with him because he was alone. There was literally nobody else in the entire restaurant, and everybody else is doing their side work, putting the forks and knives together, wrapping it up. And because that's one of the reasons why nobody wanted to do it, because they had to do that.
Right, they want to get it done so they can get
out. So as soon as they're done, right? Right. But I was like, man, I don't care. I ain't got no place to go. Our girlfriend's doing her thing, whatever. And so I was talking to him, and I literally sat down at his table and just had a conversation while he ate. At the end of the day, he said thank you, and he left. Because I already swiped his card and all that kind of stuff. And normally, I mean, out of respect, I don't check the tip. I mean, if they leave 0 or whatever, right. I don't care. But I opened up the envelope,
right,
and it said $1,000 tip.
Now, how much was his bill?
$24. Right.
Whoa.
And so I was like, there's no way this is that. So I ran him down, right? Because this is all I want. I ran him down. I went down the escalator. I was like, I forgot his name now, but I was like, this can't be right. He's like, Merry Christmas, because it was kind of close to Christmas.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, no, I'm very, very sure. I was like, okay.
You remember the guy's name by chance?
I don't. I still have the receipt at home though.
Oh, gotcha.
Like I still have the receipt at home. And so everybody's like, what? There's no way. We ran it. It cleared. As soon as it cleared, I think somebody told somebody at My Thai Bar. My Thai Bar called us, and I was like, hey, Quan, is it for real? Somebody just got $1,000 tip off a $24 check. He's like, yeah, dude, we're like free got it. He's like, what? Right?
That's the unicorn.
Right? It really is. Anything over anything 4 digits.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then California Pizza Kitchen called. Bubba Gump called. Ruby Tuesdays called. I mean, they're all like, dude, this can't be for real. Is it for real? And so he's like, yeah, here, look. And so we actually had to show him the receipt saying it's $1,000 tip.
The power of coconut wireless. Ladies and gentlemen.
Right? Power of coconuts. The wireless connection. And then a week later, I was waiting. Literally a week later, I was waiting on a couple that was from California, from UCLA. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was like, yeah, USC, Trojans, because I don't know why, right?
He's making combo, bro.
Right? And he's like, oh no, USC, man, that's like for rich kids. UCLA is like where it's at. That's like the real students, like the real Californians go to UCLA. USC is just like all the rich celebrities buying their kids in, which come to find out that's what they do.
Wow.
Right? Because, I mean, there's a lot of controversy right now with that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
What's her name? I forget.
I forget, too. But, yeah, so, I mean, so I'm like, you know what? You're right, dude. UCLA, go Bruins, man. Screw it. I'm personally a Florida State fan, but we don't play UCLA all the time, right? He's like, all right. So, he puts down the black card, the metal one.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh. I literally said that. I picked it up. I was like, "Ooh, this thing is heavy."
Excuse me, did he?
I know. I was like, "Damn, all right, Jerry Seinfeld, easy, right?" So scanned it, ran it. That guy, his bill came out to about $80 because it was him and his wife, and they had a couple of drinks.
Right.
But he left me a $500 tip.
Wow.
So back to back, it was like everybody's calling, dude, is this guy getting $500 tip? He's like, yeah. So in 2 weeks, I made $1,500 in tips over my normal $80 to $100 a night.
Right.
So
that's an insane story.
Yeah, and I had to blow it all.
What? Let me ask you this though.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do with the money?
Oh, I spent it on my girlfriend. I spent it on the girlfriend that I don't have in my life anymore.
What'd you get for her? I'm just curious.
Dude, I got a Louis Vuittons and all that stuff.
Oh, Louis Vuittons or Louis Vuitton singular?
Well, keep in mind, at the time it had roughly around 10 grand in the bank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by the end of that, I had like $600.
Oh, I thought you meant with the 1500. I was like,
Oh well, that was added into.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that 1500 would only get her a wallet.
Yeah, that's why I was like, you got her Louis Vuittons plural with 1500. I go, I don't know what year that was.
I got her a wallet, a purse, and flip flops. But she was the kind of person that she couldn't because it's Louis Vuitton. She wore it once, and she got the bottoms of it dirty.
Yeah.
And she returned it. She's like, I can't just get Louis Vuittons dirty. I was like, baby, you're crazy. It's flip flops. You're supposed to get them dirty.
What are you gonna do? Walk on air?
Either that or like walk around your house, I guess. I mean, you know what I mean.
Even that's gonna get dirty.
But she wanted them though. Like it's not like I went over there and said, hey, yeah, those slippers look good. You know what I mean? I would never buy like $400 slippers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she wanted them, so that's what I. Yeah, again, we're not gonna talk about that no more.
Too high maintenance for me. Too high maintenance for me.
But the thing is, she never asked for it. She just liked it, so of course you get it. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know. I wouldn't have got it. Yeah, better man than me. Let me tell you in that aspect.
Well, at the time, I was flush, man. At the time, I was flush. I was like, oh yeah, I'm making good money. You know what I mean? I'm not going out. I'm not at the nightclub spending money. So
yeah, I guess you know, stacking them chips. You're like, I could get there or something. Yeah, honey dip something.
And then, like literally, like less than 6 months later, she's with another. Anyway,
so then, where'd you go from Jackie's Kitchen? Let's push forward.
From Jackie's Kitchen, that actually closed down, and I got my severance pay. So that was a good chunk of money too. Because so within 2 months, I was a waiter from Expedite.
Right.
3 months after that, they asked me to be a manager. So
you have any managerial experience?
Well, nightclub,
right,
but not restaurant.
Yeah,
right? But and so I guess because of my progression, and they see that I'm learning fast or whatever, and I do well with customers and all that. So they offered me the position because my other friend Terrence, he's like, nah, I can't do it. So they're like, who's up next? Free's up next. All right, you want it? It's like, all right, I'll take it. Right.
Like we're closing anyways.
Yeah, right. I'm like,
we're shutting this.
I'm a manager that was I can cook whatever I want, right? Like I can eat steaks all day. All right, cool. Go on Facebook, whatever. But so the funny thing is, Quan was a daytime manager. I was a nighttime because at night he would do the nightclub stuff.
Right.
Right. So and then during the day I would do my stuff, and then at night he would do it. No, I would do the night. He would do the day. But because I was so lazy, I was like. I just write notes instead of like balancing the till at the end of the night. I just write notes like, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. Like, I don't know why, but the numbers don't add up." I didn't even try. Like, I just left the drawer the way it is. Like, I didn't even separate the money. I didn't like put all the bills in one direction. Like, it was just like, too lazy. So you go ahead and do it. So every morning he would have to do my bank and then do his bank, and because I just didn't want to do it. So sorry, Quan.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew it. He knew it too.
He expected it. He knows the deal.
Right. But, so from Jackie's Kitchen, when they closed down, I went to unemployment. Mm-hmm. And so that paid for like 6 months out of my life.
Right.
So I could go like camping Ramanalo and just chill, eat and do nothing with my life. Go to the beach every day on my moped. Right. Go down to San Souci and look at all the girls' bubble butts. Right. I mean, let's be honest. That's where all the strippers go, right? Anyway, and so, but my friend Jax Madrock, so mahalo to Jax out there. He got me a job at this place called VLSH, which is Volunteer Legal Services Hawaii, which is kind of like
a mouthful.
It is, right? That's why they had to put the
Volunteer
VLSH
Legal
Services Hawaii, which is like a nonprofit law firm.
Right.
Like, what is it called? Legal aid.
Yeah.
It's like legal aid, except for we don't actually have attorneys. What we do is we set up clinics where we get attorneys, like high-powered attorneys from law firms to come in and talk to them. Set up at face-to-face. Because some of these problems are in-depth, like, adoption, battered women, like that kind of thing.
Right.
And so we'd help the less fortunate. And I was the lawyer recruitment, and it was so stressful, man. Like, you know how hard it is to get a guy that does like $1,000 an hour consultations to do it for free for like 6 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I had to go down there with like, oh, here you go. Here's some donuts for you and your staff. By the way, can you do 6 hours?
Right.
And of course they're like, does it have to be me? Like, can I just get one of my associates and all their lackeys to do it? I'm like, whoever's an attorney.
Yeah.
I don't care if you know they can't be a like paralegal. They can't be what it has to be an attorney. He's like, so yeah, I can just use one of my low level attorneys. Like, yeah, you can use like 6 of them. I don't care. And so, but at the same time, it's stressful because of the way the job was set up. So it was literally killing me. And when I say that, literally, like I was having like suicidal thoughts. My hair was coming out. I had a patch of hair like this big, like on the side of my head. You can ask Jax, because there's just a big white spot.
That's stress.
That is stressed out. And so, one day Jax was like, "You got 2 weeks. Sell out whatever you gotta sell. Make as much money as you can. You can use my truck when I go to work to go down to the swap meet on Wednesday. Was it Wednesdays?
I think Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday. Here's your plane trip ticket to Las Vegas. Chase Webb. Mahalo to Chase, by the way. Without you, I couldn't do this, bro. Chase was like, yeah, I got a place. My company helps with the rent, like, I guess, his living expenses. And I have a room here that is just me and my cats. So, you can have that extra room if you want. And so I guess him and Jax talked a little bit and said, yeah, let's get him up here before he does something stupid. And 2 weeks later, I'm on a plane with $700 in my pocket to Las Vegas.
Hey.
$700. Do you know how fast that goes?
Yeah.
Oh
like
my
one
God.
bet.
Right? But even then, like, because I'm not a gambler, it was like, okay, so when I get there, I gotta get at least a blow up bed, which is stupid to get a blow up bed when you got 2 cats that have very sharp claws. Didn't think of that, so I was basically sleeping on the ground, right?
So what was your game plan when you got there? You had no game plan.
I had no game plan. I knew that Good Vibe, my friend Good Vibe, was working at a place called Privé Nightclub, and it's at Planet Hollywood.
Right.
And so we went down to the office the day that I got into Las Vegas. We went down to the office, and talked to the promotions manager. Now the promotion manager is basically, he runs the guys that stand in suits out on the strip and hand out flyers.
Right.
Or hand out wristbands to get into the club, and you put your number on it, and when they cut it off at the front door, then they tally it up and give you money.
Right.
And so I became one of those guys. I did pretty good for the first week. I mean, the first week I made like $600.
Right.
But I just hated it. You know
right.
what I mean?
You just kind of.
You feel like such a galoot.
Yeah, you're just kind of just trying to push it on people. Cause check it out. Here, put my band on so I can get money.
Right, and you give them the sob story, and a lot of the girls, like, I mean, we're talking like high level pretty girls. They're like, we don't need these, right? I was like, yeah, I know you don't need them, but I do. So can you just help a brother out?
Right.
Come on, help me out, because it doesn't cost you nothing. And honestly, because I'm personable and I just don't care who I talk to, they're like, okay, that's cool. Do you have like 6 more? Because we got like 6 other girls coming with us. I'm like, girl, I got like 600 more if you need it. You know what I mean? But I didn't like the job. So I was, and Vi was doing this side room called the lounge. Was it the lounge? No, the living room.
Living room.
And so I started emceeing for him in that room, and they liked it. They're like, why doesn't Vegas ever have MCs anymore? Like, it's all about just the music. But now I'm bringing like this dynamic level where back in the days, like at the beach and all that kind of stuff, where they used to have fun, now everybody's having fun again in this one small room. And the room was outshining the main room.
Right.
Like the main room was like going, whatever. But because they had the MC and like, especially when In the Club came out, 50 Cent, it's your birthday.
Right.
Michelle, it's your birthday. All her friends are going nuts and, all that stuff. And so we had the party going on. And so when big celebrities like Little John, will.i.am, Ice-T, all that kind of stuff would come in, they would ask me to MC the beginning to kind of get the party going.
Right,
and so
in the big room.
Yeah, in the big room, right? Like I got upgraded to the big room. So, before Ice-T and Coco would go on, I'd hype up the crowd, and then they do their set. I'm a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, right? And so, after that, and then will.i.am and, what's his name? Apple D. Apple's there and all this kind of stuff. and so I was the MC for them, like to open them. So that was kind of cool. And then they went under. Because, well,
As
because
most nightclubs do.
right, most nightclubs do. It's not just Hawaii. In fact, Vegas, their nightclub turnover, like it's not like before when LAX was around for like 10 years.
No, like 5 years or average
Right,
usually.
but now, yeah, around 5 to 3 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, I was doing that, and they went under, and I started doing, I guess, Gold Diggers with Good Vibes still, and I was emceeing for him, and we're switching off doing MC DJ MC, but he was more the DJ, I was more the MC. I was the Will Smith, and he was the Jazzy Jeff. But that's when I met you.
Yeah.
When I was doing Gold Diggers, you would come in, and I don't know how we hooked up. Like, did you know Vibe?
I know Vibe because
Because of the radio thing, right?
Yeah, no, and then when I moved to, and then our paths crossed briefly in Hawaii, but when I moved out to Vegas, we started doing stuff with Def Tow
Def Tow.
at Eye Candy in Mandalay.
Oh, okay.
So that's how we kind of connected, and then the whole coming down, and oh man, I hate the game.
I hate the game.
It just, you gotta just
Especially
go out and hang out and just just be
nothing.
there. And like, I don't really. I mean, I'm a DJ. I don't want to go out there and just hang out and drink and
Right.
and
Like,
party.
I want to DJ. I
wanna
want to do something.
Yeah, so you just gotta kind of do the rounds. Like, okay, here's my face. Here I am. Like, I'm around. So if you need me, okay, then go to the next place and you're like,
Right.
oh, here I am. This is me. Look at me. I'm hanging out. You know me, right? Okay, then go to the next
Right.
place and
It's like, you saw my face tonight,
yeah.
right?
So yeah, then that's where I think finally our paths crossed was Gold Diggers in the Golden Nugget, downtown Las Vegas, and I think I just started hanging around, and I think Jeremy was the manager.
Jeremy Yoza.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was from Hawaii too, so he was the manager there, and I think who else was spinning there? Benny Black.
Oh yeah.
Benny
Yeah.
and
That was
was
fun.
it just by Benny and who else was there?
Was it John Shaw?
No, Benny. I don't know. I forget now.
I forget.
Somebody else was doing the weekends. I know Benny was doing a couple nights. And
But
vibes, and I
yeah,
forget.
so Vibe and I were working, and finally met you. It's funny that you mentioned Jeremy, because he was the general manager, right? Him and I dated the same girl, like back to back. Like, I dated her, and then we broke up, and then he dated her. But again, I dated her for like 6 months. He dated her for like 2 months. But this is back in the World Cafe days, when if you went home and remembered it the last time,
that's a long-term relationship,
right? It's super long, like super long, right?
So
And I brought it up to him one day because we were sitting in the office and we're talking. I was like, "Dude, do you remember Kelly? Like, we dated the same girl." He's like, "Did we really? Oh my God, yeah, Kelly." Like, I can't say her last name because she's married and all that, but he's like, "Oh my God, yeah, I remember. Like, we dated for like 2 months. Like, yeah, I dated her for like 6 months just before you did, but who cares, right?" And so anyway,
who cares? Give me my check.
right? And so I stopped working with Vibe, and you and I started working together on Thursdays. And the reason why is because I used to think that it was so unique that you used to do video mixing.
Right.
And at that time, you did video mixing, I mean, honestly, before a lot of people. Like, Rumors actually had video mixing, but it was VHS.
Right.
And you had to time it where, because there's no pitch
Right.
with VHS. So you got to kind of time it where all of a sudden just it starts going for like 2 seconds, like perfect. And
Yeah,
you can mix it with it.
like 2-beat blend.
Right? And then it starts doing this again. And so I remember, like, wow, dude, this guy's dope. Like, he's got video mixing and all this kind of stuff. So we started working together, especially because I wasn't working with Vibe and I didn't really have an income anymore. So you helped me out by saying, yeah, dude, just split the shift with me and we'll, split the money. And so we started doing that. Coco was still around, but he was working at
Sam's
Town.
Right.
And so you and I started hanging out, and then
I think that was, I don't know what year that was. I know I moved in 09, so it must have been like 10.
Yeah.
2010 or so.
So, and then I remember him, he got a girlfriend, and I guess he moved out, right?
Right.
And then you started getting gigs, like in Southern California and, up and down California and all that kind of stuff. And, I hate to say it, dude, but you're a narcoleptic, dude.
What does he mean? What does that mean?
That means that you could fall asleep.
Oh, I thought it was the person who likes to have relations with Dead people.
No, that's necro.
I think. Wait a minute.
Like, how do I know this? I
where
don't
are you
know.
going with that?
No. Narcoleptic means like you just fall asleep.
Oh yeah.
Like that girl in Deuce Bigelow,
Mm.
where you had to tie her hair to the back of the chair,
Oh
and
yeah.
she's like, anyway, and so you're like, yeah, do you want to come with me to whatever gig we're doing in California? Like I remember we were doing San Diego and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was just back then. I just was main thing was just moving to the mainland. Was just kind of traveling and just seeing playing different spots, meeting different people. So traveling was a big thing for me. I was just kind of using the Vegas brand to just kind of expose myself all over.
You're doing the Vegas brand, but also you were doing like the network of video DJs, and which is a really niche network. But yeah, we did San Luis Obispo, we did Seattle, Tacoma, and where what was that biker bar?
Yeah, I forget.
Where Nick Sato or Nick
something-
Styles,
HD Hotspurs.
HD Hotspurs.
Nasty boy.
What up, Nasty Boy? Thanks for having us out there. Your family's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we also did Alaska for a month. That's a whole nother podcast we got to get into.
I don't know.
And then we started doing a lot of stuff in San Diego.
Right.
Like La Jolla, San Diego, all this kind of stuff. Oceanside.
All the casinos.
Right. And then of course later on in life, who knew that you're gonna get married and move there?
Right.
But
that was my show. So let's get back to yours.
Yeah. And so
I know you were doing that. You're doing a lot of the MC. With me, we're traveling, and then what was this is the thing that's going to lead into what you're doing today. But what sparked your interest back into being an artist, being especially a comic artist?
Okay, well, back in the days, being comic, like I used to love comics and reading them, but I just never did comic art. And so one day I was like, you know what, I want to be creative again. Like I don't want to go to jail for spray painting walls in Vegas, because you do not want to go to jail in Vegas.
Yeah.
I tried it, didn't like it. Don't want to go back. And so I went down to a comic shop, and just randomly I went down to a comic shop and I saw three guys sitting there just drawing. And like one of the new kids in school, like, can I come play with you?
Right.
And so they're like, yeah, grab a pencil, grab a paper. And so I drew the worst Green Lantern ever. Like his leg was coming out of his chest. Like it was, ugh. But somebody wanted it, so I just gave it to him that day. But it sparked my interest of like, hey, you know what? This is something social. This is something I'm interested in, and I'm gonna decide that I want to be a part of this industry. This comic book industry. So I learned anatomy. I learned perspective. I learned storytelling. I learned all of these different techniques on what to do and how to actually create a comic. And so that's what sparked my interest, because I wanted to be creative and not go to jail. And I didn't know anybody in the art scene in Vegas. But because of the comic stuff, I began to know a lot of comic artists, and I actually created or co-created this thing called the ACC, which is the Artist Comic Collective, with a bunch of artists that never knew that there were even other artists in Vegas.
Right.
But now I got them all together. We had like 50 artists, at one time, 60 artists at one time. And we all get together at the comic shop, and we would draw and talk and create stuff together, tell stories and, just have a good time. And we'd travel to other places to do conventions like LA and, all these kind of things. And of course, the local convention scene in Las Vegas. And so because of the camaraderie I gained through being a part of the comic community, it helped build my artistry, where now even people in like the street artists, they know my name.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, so you're the guy that everybody says, if I want to talk about comics, you're the guy to go to.
Right.
Like you're the guy that knows
you
every
kind of
artist.
took the leadership in the Las Vegas community as far as comic artists.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
It's just that's how we are.
Yeah, I mean, like you put together something, you kind of put it a united group together, and then of course, if you're the one putting it together, then everyone's going to look to you for leadership. But yeah, like I was saying, like that really sparked it up, because like before, like I knew you dabbled in, but I didn't know you were that good, honestly.
I'm not that good. I'm not that good.
I'm like, yeah, that's some real talent. Like, You know what I mean? You can try and fake the funk like some people, and you can try and I know how to draw, and yeah, you know you don't. Dog.
It's like you kind of do.
Yeah.
If
so,
you're
but,
6, but I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not that good, but at the same time, I'm confident enough where if I needed to do something, I can learn it.
right.
You know.
Well, that's a talent within itself. You know what I mean? That's a God-given kind of talent.
Like, well, it's more like a dedication to, like, if I need to learn how to draw a realistic eye, then there's YouTube. You can go
Right.
down to the library. You can learn these techniques if you're dedicated enough. So I tell people I'm not a talented guy, but I work my butt off to learn anatomy. I think like to learn how a bicep connects to the shoulder, connects to the.
I gotta,
all
I
that.
gotta disagree with that because I could read a book and be dedicated 24/7, and I could never draw more than a stick man.
But see, that's the thing though. Like, okay, say for example, like I don't know video editing,
Right,
but you dedicated your 10 years to it,
right.
and now you're one of the premier video editors. You know what I mean? So if you take 10 years out of your life and draw, you're gonna get better,
Better, yes.
right? I mean,
But-
but that's what I'm saying. I'm not the best.
Right.
I'm better than I used to be.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's the same thing.
I guess.
You know, it's a skill. It's a learned skill.
Yeah.
But at
Gotcha,
the same
gotcha.
time, I do agree with you that you have to have a certain mindset.
Right.
Like my friend Aaron, he had a mindset of detail and shapes and forms, lighting. It was all in him already. He just learned the technique when he went to college for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But before college, he was still doing it, but it refined him. You know, so I agree. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
you gotta have some kind of, you gotta have some talent. Maybe if you don't have the talent, you gotta at least have the passion for it. I guess
Yeah.
that will help you out. So, but yeah, so you got into all that comic stuff, and you even started a few of your own comics, right?
yeah. Actually, I produced my own comic, and I produced a few other people's comics, like Quincy Victoria. I produced it. Well, I published his comic, Kowal, Soldier of the People.
What kind of accent was that? Because I thought the guy was supposed to be Filipino.
He is Filipino, but
Soldier of the People.
Soldier of the People. It's like I'm from South Africa, but no,
Via the Philippines.
right? He isn't. But yeah, so his comic is actually doing really well because it's cultural.
Right.
You know, he's got the big Filipino.
A lot of support from them.
Yeah.
The Filipino community.
I should have done that, man. I'm Filipino. I don't speak it, but I could have made a. But he did it.
Yeah.
And so he's doing well. I do my own book. I called The Contraptor, which is a steampunk adventure.
What exactly is a steampunk? I'm familiar somewhat with it, but for people who may not be familiar at all, why don't you explain to them exactly what a
So-
steampunk is?
I made up my own definition. Because,
that's fine.
because it's kind of hard to explain. But I say it's a reimagining of make-believe technology.
Right.
Because there's no such thing as steampunk in the real world.
Mhm.
There's steam engines, you know,
Right.
like locomotives and all that kind of stuff, and there's steam powered stuff. But the steampunk aspect is actually not an existing technology. So you're actually making it up. So you can make up whatever you want.
So basically, it's just like kind of like a technology based on steam, then like a
Yeah.
steam,
Like a industrial.
industrial kind of like with all those gears and.
Exactly.
What
Like,
was the movie they had something about it? Like
okay, so for example, the best example of
Yeah.
steampunk would be Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
See, that's the one I remember.
Right, because it's based on that steam.
Right.
Right.
Everything was based off that.
So just like cyberpunk, it would be like, again, it's future technology, but it's fake. There's
Right.
no
It's-
such thing as
It's like a future, like high technology based off like the steam engine or
Yeah.
that technology, like
But, like-
old technology.
yeah, exactly.
bringing in new technology.
It's basically like looking back in time, but looking forward.
Right.
Right? It's kind of like Alita Battle Angel would be cyberpunk, because there's no such thing as that technology, but they're using the cybernetic
Right.
technology. Steampunk is like the same thing, but using former technology that's outdated, put into different, and that's why my comic book is called The Contraptor, because it's literally a contraptor is a guy that makes the contraptions.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So and everyone's like, "What's a contraptor?" And then I have to explain that too. But but yeah, so it's a reimagining of make believe technology.
Right.
So that's what steampunk is. And so yeah, I started doing that, and because I was doing steampunk pop culture characters and all that with my Steam Royals collection, which is very popular. I also do my own comic and everything. But because of that, I got offered to do Marvel trading cards. So I'm a Marvel trading card artist. I'm a and this is actually kind of interesting. I'm a three-time Guinness World Record holder
Mm-hmm.
in the comic industry. I got the certificates and everything.
What was it for?
One of them was for being one of the I think 300 artists on one book. So the
Right.
most artists on one book, and the fastest book from concept to publishing in like it's the fastest one ever.
And how long do you guys take to do that?
At 17 hours. So if you really think about it, from writing it to scripting it to um, pencils, inks, and lettering, putting it together, editing, all that kind of stuff, and getting it out to the public, it was
17 hours.
17 hours. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I produce my own comic. Right now, my one of my biggest things is I do this thing called Free Comic Book Day in Hawaii, and I do it at Other Realms Comics, Other Realms Game Specialists.
Right.
So shout out to Other Realms, by the way. And so the first year, I was invited to do the Hawaii Comic and Toy Expo.
Right.
Francisco got in touch with me and said, I want to bring you down as an invited guest. We're gonna fly you down here and put you on the table and draw, monkey, draw. But he was nice. He's a really nice guy. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna be there for Free Comic Book Day weekend because his thing was on Sunday.
Right.
Free Comic Book Day is on Saturday, the first Saturday of every May.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got in touch with Other Realms because I used to go to Other Realms to get my comics and like those little figurines that you paint,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that was like my home away from home when I was in Hawaii. And so I contacted them and said, would you like to have an artist? Like, would you like me to be an artist? So I'd sit there and just draw for your customers, and it's free drawings. And they're like, what? Like, we've never had that before. That's another program that I initiated in Vegas, is where I would organize all the artists, at least 2 or 3 artists at every comic shop in Vegas for Free Comic Book Day, to do free sketches for all the kids and all that. Oh, sorry. To do free sketches and for all the kids and all the patrons that go to Free Comic Book Day.
Right.
And so it was a huge smash hit in Vegas. And then so I was like, this is what we do. I'm the only one going to be there, but that's fine. I can draw about 100 sketches in a day. And they're like, nah, there's no way you can do that. But if you want to come, all that stuff. So, and you know how we are.
Right.
We're promoters.
Right.
So first thing I did, all right, Hawaii, this is the first time I'm going to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the people that knew in nightclubs that didn't know that I draw, guess what? And they was like, you draw? It's like, I thought you just did nasty stuff and just MC'd. I was like, no, I do more. I have another identity other than nightclub.
Right.
And so I went there, and before they only had like maybe 200, maybe 300 people on Free Comic Book Day.
Right.
The first year that we did with me drawing there, I would sit there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, not a single bathroom break, not a single break from the table, and just draw. Just draw, head sketches of Captain America, Wolverine, Punisher, blah, blah, blah. And so I did over 150 sketches that day.
Dang.
And
that a world record?
no. You
Well,
no.
you would think.
You would think so,
But
no. John Romita Jr. actually has that world record. I think he did like 182.
oh, you're not far off the bat. Then.
But he did it within a 24-hour period. So what I'm gonna do, I'm working with a charity.
I think you can do it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm working with a charity now that we're gonna do the most sketches in a day, 24-hour period. But I'm gonna do it for 36 hours straight. So I'm gonna not only break the world record for how many sketches I can do within a 24-hour period, but I'm gonna break the time record of 36.
Right.
So, but I'm working on that.
Yeah, that's something we got to set up a podcast for
Right?
sure.
Definitely gotta. So okay, this is hour 30.
The 36-hour podcast.
Free-
Who's in?
Like Free has a saline drip in his arm, and a bottle of Bang.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so
Bang.
right, Bang,
Sponsor us.
please. And so Free Comic. So the first year was a smash hit. They said we had over 500 people.
Damn.
So they jumped from 200 to 500. The next year they had me back, but this time Other Realms sponsored me, and so thank you again to Other Realms, for the sponsorship. They sponsored me to come back, and we broke the other record. It was like 700 people,
Wow.
right? This, I mean, I think we did it 4 years in a row, or 4 or 5 years in a row so far. No, I think it's three so far, and this is going to be my fourth year. Every year we're breaking every record every year.
Wow.
Last
that's
year,
awesome.
yeah, last year we did it. It was like 800 people. What I'm trying to do is get at least 1,000 people in and out of those doors that day.
Okay.
So-
And when's the next one coming up?
Again, the first Saturday in May.
First Saturday in May. So you got some time, people. And it's in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
So all the comic book people, and even if you're not into comics, but you want a free sketch,
Right.
or if you just want to break a record,
And you get free comics, and they got like great,
how about free
prizes.
hot dogs? Free hot dogs?
Oh, dude. We were
I was
gonna,
just kidding.
No, we were thinking about that. Free hot dogs, free burgers, or whatever. But the only reason why we can't is because the Eagle Cafe and all that stuff that's in that building doesn't want food to be sold,
Nah.
right? And so,
As Fluffy would say,
what doing? But yeah, so
I got you.
like we had opposition because we wanted to do that, but they wouldn't let us. So yeah, what I'm thinking prior to the event,
Right.
I'm gonna have all my military friends that are in Hawaii because military does those like little painting things and they collect comics all the time.
Right.
And they have their families. I'm gonna have them tell everybody on the base.
Mm-hmm.
Tell all their friends. You know what? Let's just go and just break this record.
Right.
Tell all my nightclub friends and all the Kwans and all that stuff to invite everybody.
Yeah.
Like I said, Kwan, he's like, nobody called me up. Well, why don't you call them up and tell them to come down, right?
Hopefully by then we get this podcast going and
Right.
I can just come down with you and be a part of it.
Dude, that'd be cool. Like we actually document the fact that we have like 1,000 people there.
Definitely.
So,
sounds like a good plan.
I mean, there's so much so many good things going on for Other Realms on Free Comic Book Day. And it's not just me drawing now. We got Maud Park. She's a Game of Thrones artist. We got other artists like Chris Konui. He does some of my coloring. We got Napua Ahina. She does a lot of my coloring for all my steampunk stuff. So we got all these artists now because now it's not just me.
Right.
Because now they see they're like, what did Free do? What?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I want to do that too.
So everybody's coming out the woodwork and
Right.
not being so shy about their art, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, and so now, because of that, because of our initial pioneering of that concept of having artists at the comic shop, now other comic shops are having artists.
Right.
Like Dragon's Lair, they had John J. Murakami. All these other people. Sam Campos is at another comic shop. So, like all like the Kawasaki Art School. Go check them out in Hawaii. Sam Campos and the rest of the guys like Mark Gould and Gould. I don't know what his name. Art Wong, great guys. So yeah, like the free comic book stuff. Free comic book day at Other Realms is really, really, it's an experience.
Right.
And we always try to make it fun, and we always try to make it happy. And you know me, I vala out, so I talk to everybody.
Right.
It gets to the point where my mom is like sitting next to me. Hey, enough with the talking, just draw. I was like, Mom, I want to have
You're
fun
not here
too.
for talk.
Right? She's like, just draw, monkey, draw. Right? I was like, yeah, but I like to talk to my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to talk to my friend Terrence and his kid.
That's
Like,
not what you're here for.
right? She's like, hey, they're not here for that. Right? But like, there's people that like at the end of the day, they'll be like, yeah, we waited in line for 6 hours now. I was like, for a sketch? Shit, here. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Right? Edit. Beep. Right? I was like, here, you know what? I'll do the sketch, but take a print. Because you deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that.
Sorry, that's insane.
Yeah, so it there's some dedicated fans out there. And so thank you so much, Hawaii, for showing that aloha spirit.
Yeah.
Get that aloha state of mind, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, and then now I'm doing like San Diego Comic Con, which is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, like 3 days from now, I'm gonna be doing New York Comic Con.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, that's another big one. That's like the San Diego Comic Con, but for the East
East
Coast.
Coast, right?
I'm doing Denver Comic Con,
Denver.
the Hawaii Comic Con Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing Soldier Con in Arizona and El Paso, Texas. Yeah, so that was a cool one. Shout out to Carlos for always having me out and always being so cool. Yeah, so thank you all you Texas people, El Paso people, and of course Arizona people, the AZ crazies.
Easy
I
crazy.
call them AZ because everybody in Arizona is crazy. And
Must be the heat.
dude, it's got to be the heat because it's 100,000 degrees. Like literally, like in Laughlin it's hot. You go across to Bullhead, it's like 10 degrees hotter.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And the
so
gas is also like $1 cheaper.
right, I love that. But yeah, so we got that, and then also in December
Right.
I go to Brazil for the first time. I'm doing a first time out of the country convention. So Brazil's gonna be pretty.
Yeah,
nuts,
you got your
dude.
passport for that, and
Yeah.
it's Brazil international now. Now international artist, you can call yourself.
Right.
And you said the Brazil is like, I know like everyone thinks like San Diego's the biggest.
They're
Like,
wrong.
just what you hear, right?
Right there, absolutely.
As far as media, as far as you hear, like San Diego's biggest.
Right. San Diego's the big show. The
Mm-hmm.
big show. The big show. San Diego pulls in 150,000 paid tickets. I mean that doesn't mean that there's not people outside or whatever.
Right.
Now, Brazil, it's called CCXP, Comic Con Experience, right?
Ah.
Brazil. They pull in 250,000 sold tickets. And that's not even the stuff on the outside. That's just inside sold tickets.
I didn't know they had such a big fan base out there.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, I didn't think so either, but that's all they have. Like, there's no,
There's no small ones like here and there.
Yeah,
it's just one.
big one
Okay,
once a
makes
year
sense.
in Brazil. So everybody in the southern South Americas,
Okay, right.
they come to Brazil just for that.
Ah, I
San
see.
Paulo. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing that for the first time. I'm gonna be with John Romita Jr. I'm gonna be with all these other artists like Joe Rubenstein and all that. So that's gonna be really cool. That's my life until now. And now
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with the Aloha State of Mind podcast with Mark Easy.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your story with us from your inception of birth back in day, and all the way to going through. You said Marino, and then Roosevelt,
Right.
and kind of just your progression throughout the years. You know, from being a bathroom attendant, from working at Burger King, to being a vandal and a delinquent, and then
I was the vandal.
and a bathroom attendant, and seems like the right place at the right time. Like a bathroom attendant, and you get your shot to be a DJ at one of Hawaii's premier nightclubs at the time, and just kind of push forward on that, and just kind of weaved your way through the nightclub life and experiencing I'd say 90s, early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just being a part of that scene, and then just got into the restaurant thing a little bit, food service, and just taking that big step. Like that's what this podcast is about, is just finding those people who can just step out of their safety zones and their comfort zones, and just be like, there's Hawaii's my home, I love it, but there might be more in the world for me.
Right, and bring that Aloha spirit with you.
Yeah, and just spread it around the world. So you took that big leap going to Vegas, and you had some friends help you get there and stay there. So that's a great thing, and that's why they call it the ninth island. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's easy to make the transition. That's why I moved to Vegas too. It's just so simple to go there because so many people there, and it's not what you know. They say it's who you know. And with the Aloha spirit there, if you ever want to move, it's always like somebody, you're going to know somebody who lives there who can help you out, someone who can connect you with a job, the economy's, doing well. So,
Yeah.
It's not very difficult. If you have dreams out there, I want to just let people know, like, take a step out of your comfort zone and just try it.
Right.
If you don't like it, home is home. Your parents, whoever lived back there, you can always come back home, go back home to Hawaii. But, you only live one life. So if you want to just, take a chance.
Take a chance.
I know some people never stepped off, not even off of their island. You know what I mean? Whether
True.
it's Big Maui, Big Island, they never even went to another island.
It's funny.
Well,
like,
now with Hawaiian airline prices, that makes it even more difficult.
Right. Thank God that Southwest
Hawaiian
is coming.
Airlines watching you guys.
Watching you.
But anyways.
But I mean, even in the mainland though, like for people that live in the mainland, there's some people that live an hour and a half away from Disneyland that's never been there.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's people that live in Las Vegas, but they've never been snowboarding in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
They've never seen oh yeah, I live in Arizona, but I've never seen snow. It's
Right.
like go to the Grand Canyon. There's snow in the winter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same state. So get out there and just explore.
Yeah.
Explore your life.
Live your life. You know what I mean? If you're happy, by all means. If you're happy where you're at, by all means, just stay there. But if you have aspirations and dreams, don't ever think you can't.
Yep.
Don't ever think you can't, because I never thought I'd be doing what I do. Like, I played in like some of the nightclubs and biggest venues in Vegas that I never even thought I could dream of it being from Hawaii. I never even thought I'd be in Vegas, let alone have the opportunity to play in spots like that, and just alongside world class entertainers, and
Yeah. Like,
it's just crazy.
What was that gig that you did? Where was it at? Was it New Year's Eve or Halloween or something? It was one of the biggest clubs.
Yeah, I think I did it LAX New Year's
LAX,
Eve in
there
the
you go.
first years I was there, and I think the Black Eyed Peas were the hosts.
That's the one.
Yeah, and you know what I mean. It's just crazy what you can accomplish. So never sell yourself short. That's all I can say. Being from experience, and that's why we're stepping up to this podcast, just trying to express ourselves and find more people. Like I said, if you know anyone out there, and we're gonna try and get to you, whether you live in New York, whether you live in Japan, budget permitting. If not, maybe we Skype you in.
Right? Well, we'll get to you somehow.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it. And we're just kind of exploring the podcast now, and we don't want to, when we first started, I don't want to limit ourselves. Like, I feel like I don't want to limit ourselves to just people who are away from home. Maybe if you're at home but you're doing something positive, I want to talk to you. You know what I mean? I want to know what your mindset is, what your Aloha state of mind is, where you going, what you doing. So, we're just figuring it out, just like you guys out there. We're just figuring it out. We're just rolling with the punches. We're like, let's do this podcast and just see where it takes us.
Right. So I'm that was good, man. Inspiring.
You telling me you don't have as much a story as me? Like, we're over the 2-hour mark. You're like
2
double probably
hours.
me. I don't know.
Well, it's because I talk slower and I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that was a little bit of history. If you want to know my story, it's episode 1, part 1, and this is episode 1, part 2. Giving you an insight of my partner right here, Free Isabello. We just wanted to tell you a little bit of our stories before we get into the next episodes, where we'll be trying to get more people on the podcast and just give you more insight into the mindset of people from Hawaii. And just trying to look beyond what you can achieve, what you can dream.
Yep.
So hopefully we can get. I know we got Big T's on standby, waiting to do the podcast.
Right. We got Lanai. Right. He's wanted to do it. He said we gotta talk to some of these other like connections that we made, like Tati and all that, just to see if they have time.
Yeah.
Because everybody's busier now. When you grow up, we're not just 21-year-old, just running around the clubs anymore. We actually have families and jobs and all that.
Right.
So
we want to know from back then till now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your progression, so people can see like I can do it. And inspire the next generation to be like, especially on the islands. Like I said, it's so hard to step away sometimes. It's just you think it's impossible. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we want to just show you it is possible. So hopefully, like I said, if you want to be on the podcast, reach out to us, put a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, like us, follow us, Aloha State of Mind Podcast on what are we on? Instagram, Facebook. I think we got Twitter,
YouTube,
yeah, we're on this YouTube page right here. So
Anchor.
yeah, we're on Anchor, all over the place. So just make sure you follow us, and we'll definitely keep going and keep spreading that aloha all around.
Right. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification.
Definitely, for sure. So that's gonna make a wrap for this episode, and we're gonna reach out to someone real soon. We gotta get this on a more consistent basis. So people have been hitting me up and you guys need more content. So maybe we'll check out that London Bridge tomorrow. Maybe we'll go live from there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
In Havasu, and just show people what's going on out here.
I've never been there, so you got me excited to do this tomorrow. We're gonna wake up at like 7 o'clock, do our. Well, see, the thing is, when we're out at Lake Havasu, we can actually do our workout out there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's
So
a lot to walk out there, so we can get down there, and we'll bring you guys with us. So we'll peek into that tomorrow, probably.
That's awesome.
I don't want to 100% guarantee, but
Okay. I'm gonna 100% guarantee it.
Okay, you driving then.
Okay, because I was gonna drive anyway, but okay, we're doing it.
Okay, cool. Well,
I mean, you gotta pay for the gas, but still. Give and take.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so
Yeah, we just wrap it up for now, and then stick to our social media for our next podcast. And actually, tomorrow we'll go live. Not a full podcast, but we'll just go live so you guys can check us out. All right.
right, we'll do a remote from Lake Havasu and the London Bridge.
For sure. That's gonna make it a wrap.